What's up, guys?
Welcome back to the Rec
It is
Podcast.
Thursday, the best day of the week. You've made it here. It's 4 p.m. Or maybe you're watching this later at night, or maybe you're watching this in another day. We are still so glad to have you here on this episode.
Yeah, welcome to the Rec. If this is your first time here, dude, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast.
You're very
always
welcome here.
You're very welcome in this place. Make sure you subscribe.
Make
And
sure
if-
you subscribe.
Yes, make sure you subscribe. Turn that notification bell. Follow us on Insta. We post the most on Insta.
And hey, tell your friends. If there's friends of yours that don't know about what's going on here on Thursdays, every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Tell them and your family. And
I
hey,
think you forgot
even
for a
tell your
second.
dog. Yeah, I kind of forgot.
Oh my gosh. No, yeah, but jumping right into it. Guys, we have a very special guest today. We
Yes.
got Danny
Danny
Sousa,
Sousa,
up in here, up
let's
on the
go.
pod. Woo-hoo.
Uncle
Thank you,
Danny, DTD. You're a man
The
of
drummer.
many nicknames.
Danny the drummer.
Man of many nicknames.
Who are you, my man?
I am Daniel Sousa. People call me DTD, like somebody that's in this room. Not gonna name him. He
Anonymous?
wants to stay anonymous. Anonymous. I'm Daniel Sousa. I've been friends with Nick for a very long time now, and some say might be too long.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But-
7 years, man. 7
7 years is
Since
a
2016.
very, very long time. Yeah,
Yeah, man. A lot could happen in 7 years, but our
A
friendship.
lot did happen in 7 years.
A lot did.
a lot did happen.
Specifically in our friendship too.
A lot of changes between both of us have happened.
Oh yeah,
in
100%.
that time.
We'll definitely get more into it in the podcast. But yeah, man, how did it all start, man? Just tell the viewers, to the people who don't know, man, like, how did it all start, my man?
How my relationship with God started, or like
yeah, man.
or
No,
how I was
in the
like-
beginning, Genesis.
Oh,
In the beginning, God
you were born.
created.
in the beginning.
So one day I was born. That's like the story of my
Yeah,
life.
that was the start. September 2nd, 2005.
Yeah.
I was born.
If you want to get me any gifts for my birthday,
Shameless plug.
You could
shameless
sell
plug.
him.
Zell me
Guys,
any
we'll
amount.
leave all the information down below. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, Danny.
Oh yeah, but my relationship with God, grew up in a Christian household, and my family were very involved in church. At the church that I'm still at, which is crazy nowadays because everyone always like moves around churches, but
Yeah.
I'm still at the same place, and ever since I was a child, my family was very involved in like doing plays for the church and being a part of the worship team. Like my brother, he would play drums, and my mom, she would help.
Love your brother, by the way. Love your brother.
Lucas, shout
Yeah,
out
I
to
love 'em
Lucas.
too.
Shout out
to-
Lucas.
Shout out to Lucas and Julia. Miss you guys. I'll see them soon.
I miss them too.
But yeah, and my mom, she would anytime there was like, anytime they needed someone to decorate, she would be the one decorating the church. My dad, he would sing. We were very involved in the church, and that's like the space I grew up in.
Yeah.
But where it kind of like turned for me is it's always that retreat. It's always that one retreat.
Mhm.
Oh,
Always takes
yeah.
that one retreat that's like,
And then
wow.
boom, life changed.
I think I found it. Like I think I figured it out.
Beautiful. It was an amazing retreat. We talked about it on the last episode too with Kevin. Shout out Kevin.
It was the same retreat, but where it changed for me was the year before. That was
The
the
year
year you guys
before.
didn't go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the
Oh.
2018
I had to
one.
go by myself. You guys didn't
Wow,
want
y'all left him.
y'all didn't want to come with me. I wonder why. No, but yeah, I was the one that got you guys to go to that retreat the second time around.
Yeah.
Because I remember like the first time it was such a blessing because that's when I found out like a lot about like my calling and what I'm meant for, and
Mm-hmm.
just to keep the story short, basically like I was confused whether if I was meant to be like a worshiper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was lost. I didn't know what to really do, what my calling was, because I saw everyone having
When you mean
gifts.
worshiper, you mean a worship like or involved in worship.
Involved in worship and music,
Uh-huh.
because that's something that I was very into at the time. And then at the time, keeping the story like pretty short, is the worship leader at the time. We were having this moment where everyone was just getting prayed for, and I was in my corner, and the worship leader came and he prayed for me. Then eventually, all the guys that were there, they all circled me and started praying for me, and everything they were praying about was to do with worship.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
then, ever since then, like my life changed. I was like, oh my goodness, like I need to, like pursue this and try and do as much as I can in the church and be more involved. Then the second year that we went, that's when you guys went,
Oh
and
yeah.
I actually had my
I
friends.
know.
with
She
me.
was there in
Well,
spirit.
No,
in
I wasn't there.
spirit.
Sorry, this is not my time yet. Not my time.
Anninha came a couple years later. No, yeah, but then I wanted you guys to go, and it was actually kind of funny because I wasn't meant to go to the second one, but you guys were gonna go
Wait,
to the
you
second
weren't
one.
either.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You weren't either,
I
too.
wasn't. That's a whole nother.
That's a whole other
man.
story. Again, to keep it short,
That's a
So
whole
see,
other
that's how God works, though. Y'all, none of you guys were supposed to
weren't-
go, and
we
you
weren't
all
It was
supposed
went.
to
from
go.
God.
Oh,
Like,
by
that
the way,
retreat
wait.
was
When
from-
we say you all, we mean all the boys, all their friends.
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm not gonna count. Probably like 5, 6 of us, maybe.
5
Right.
of you guys.
Of the guys?
No, because there was the other one too.
Oh yeah.
So, you guys went, and then I was like, "Oh, you guys gotta go. You guys gotta go." And it wasn't even meant for me and you to go. But I remember my brother already paid for my spot, and I just came back from this vacation that I took with my dad,
Mhm.
and I wasn't gonna go to the retreat, and you weren't supposed to go, but there was actually an open spot that was already paid
For
for
free.
for free.
For free, man.
And then that was, the last episode. Kev, he already talked
He
about how
talked
that
about it.
retreat like changed like your guys' lives and how that impacted you guys.
Dude, can I just say, if there was an episode where we could dedicate it just to that retreat, I
Oh
would.
my goodness, we'd be here for a long time.
No, literally, like
Longest
oh.
episode of the rec.
No, literally.
the stories that came out of that retreat. Nick in the kayak, Kevin in the pool. Oh my god. Don't get Nick in the pool.
Wait,
Oh
can
my
I just
God.
say, Nick does not know how to swim?
Yep.
That's where we found out he couldn't swim. Was that pool and that retreat.
But anyways.
Moving on.
Oh man.
Yeah, well.
Nah, but
Just
that
an episode
retreat.
of like funny moment. No, we could do 2 episodes. Funny moments from the retreat, and then like actual spiritual moments.
Oh, yeah.
Moments. First, before the commercial, funny. After the commercial,
Like,
then
oh no,
it's
we're
like,
getting
okay.
spiritual.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that retreat was the second one was very fun to see you guys go through what I went through the year before.
Because the first one was like you had already experienced it, and I'm sorry. The second one you had already experienced what you experienced in the first one. So it's like with the second one, you already knew what to expect, kind of. I'm assuming, but you wanted that for us.
Yeah, I had a feeling, and I already knew what to expect because we went to literally the same place. Like I already had an idea of how it was gonna go, so I was just very excited to see how you guys would take it. Because at the time, like I feel like for all of us, even for me, the second retreat was another eye opener too. Because I learned more things from that second retreat.
Yeah.
But that second one, we were, it was like a turning point for all of us because we're all at a spot where like we're all kind of lost. Like we're all caught up in the world, and we're all caught up in like trying to
Our
figure
struggles,
out
you
our
know.
struggles and trying to figure out who we are. And then that retreat really answered a lot of our questions.
Mhm.
I feel like, and I was really happy because of that because
Oh
you know,
yeah.
we're all lost.
And would you say that's where it all started? Would you say that's where God started working in your life?
I feel like God started working in my life after the first retreat, but then I started seeing the fruits of my labor
In
during
the
the
second
second
retreat,
retreat.
I guess we
Okay.
can also say like when you realized God was working in your life, because God was always working.
Yeah, he was always working, obviously, but
Because
when,
in the first one you were also super young, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a whole year younger than the second one.
no, literally.
I
So
was very. For those who don't know, I'm probably the young. Well, not now anymore because another one joined us. But like
Another
out of the
one.
guys, at the time I was the youngest one. I'm
Yeah.
17 now, and Nick is 19. right?
18.
18.
18.
I don't even know his age, man.
No, he's almost there. He's almost there. And Kev, he's like 20. So
Yeah.
the age gap is pretty crazy.
It's a
between
big
all
age
of us.
gap,
It's,
yeah.
it's like a wide variety, and
Mhm.
and I find it kind of funny that like I'm so young, but like sometimes I would be checking you like, bro, you're older than me.
No,
You
literally.
should
you should know better.
Which
What
is
are you
exactly
doing?
why I love our friendship, because we all he always held me accountable.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, get yourself some friends who will hold you guys accountable, specifically Christian ones, because
Mhm.
it in all seriousness, it'll definitely help you grow a healthy relationship, not just with the Lord, but with your friends as well,
And with everyone around.
and with everyone around
No,
you.
yeah, and it doesn't matter what the age is either. It's all about your maturity because uh I might be very young, but as you guys said before, I have like the maturity of someone that's older.
Mhm.
And not even that,
for
bro, but
sure.
like God doesn't care about age.
Yeah,
dude.
God literally does not care about
I gave
age
a
at all.
preaching about it. God
Mhm.
does not care about age. God, I'm pretty sure we even talked about it on this podcast
I think
too.
we talked about it in the first episode.
Yeah, one of the episodes we talked about it, dude. God lifted up David when he was a kid, dude.
was,
Lifted up Samuel when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lifted up
Samuel was like 5 years old.
exactly like it. Jeremiah, like everyone. You know,
Jeremiah's my favorite
God used
one.
Jesus at the temple when he was 12.
Yeah.
So it's like God does not care about age.
Mhm.
Age does not matter.
Age doesn't matter
You
whatsoever.
could be 4 years old, dude, and if God is like, I want to use this 4-year-old, he'll use that 4.
You know
I
what's
find
funny?
I find it funny too because I always say it now because every time Nick would have an issue, he would be in high school. He's like a sophomore, and then I'm like a 7th grader. So whenever he'd have an issue, I'm like, dog, I'm a 7th grader.
Technically an 8th grader.
Technically an 8th grader.
Yeah.
All right, fine. All right, you got me. But like, you should know better. Why are you listening to a middle schooler? You're a
No,
high
really.
school. Like it was always that sort of dynamic, and I feel like that sort of helped check you because you're like,
Dude, I'm getting checked by a middle schooler.
yeah, exactly.
literally.
Like I'm letting this middle schooler check me right now. Are you serious?
I
Yeah.
feel like though for you guys, you kind of didn't realize your age gap. Because to be fair, it's really not that big.
It's
isn't,
not.
nah,
It's
isn't
not.
that big.
People made it. I think it was only like
It only felt big because at the time we're all in school,
yeah.
and then school makes you feel like age gaps.
Because
are
you hear
huge.
the grade, I guess you could say.
The
Yeah,
grade
and you're
makes
like,
you.
oh my gosh, it's so scary.
Oh no!
Uh-huh,
Not
yeah.
only that, it's like at the time I was like in 8th grade. You were in 6th grade. It was like you have a friend who's in 6th grade. I was like,
And it's like, but when you guys were together, it's like we're both as dumb as a 5-year-old. So it's like,
Hey, Anninha, whoa.
oh yeah. But dude, it's like God. It's like I said, dude. God can use anyone at any age, and He clearly started working through you. During that first retreat. How old were you in that first retreat exactly?
that was what
18.
18.
That was 2018. I'm 17
Wait.
now. I suck with math.
So you were like 10, 9.
You were 12.
12.
Whoa, that was a lot of
Wow.
different numbers that we just said. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
2018, 19, 20, 21,
Yeah,
22,
12,
23.
12.
That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that
17.
is not right.
17 minus 5 is 12.
As you can tell,
You're not good at math.
Not good at
No,
math.
just remember that one time that I said that 7 plus 3 was like 9?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah, we're not Einstein, you know.
They judged me like pretty bad.
I think you could tell that
I
it's
didn't
very
forget.
easy to check each other now.
No, it is,
You're
it is.
wrong.
No, I didn't forget. If you're watching this, you know exactly who you are. Them two and someone else made so much fun of me for doing that. 7 plus 3 is 10, not 9. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I ain't forget. I ain't forget.
I'm trying to remember who the other person was.
Anyways.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I remember. That's all that. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, but dude, like, so going back to the retreat, we went a little off
A
topic.
little off
okay?
topic, but
Guys,
But-
that's my coffee. I'm sorry. I'm like I'm drinking coffee for the first. Oh, by the way, if y'all ever wonder, this is so off topic. I'm really sorry, but I just need to say this.
Okay.
So, what do we drink whenever we're on the podcast? Usually, it's water. I drink tea or coffee.
Yes.
All the
I'm
time.
always drinking water.
Always water. Boom, water. Boom, water. Today, I got my coffee. I love coffee. As you can tell, I'm going on a little bit of caffeine overload right now.
yeah,
It's okay.
me and Nick, we're chilling, and then she's over there like.
No,
The
literally.
thing is, I'm shaking under the table. My hands are like, but I'm trying not to show it.
No, literally.
If you
But
see me shaking, it's the caffeine.
But nah, dude. It's like, so what happened exactly after the second retreat? How did you see the fruit? Because you said you saw the fruit of it in the second retreat.
So the second retreat, I was at the time between the first retreat and the second retreat. I
Mhm.
started working on production. That's where I learned how to work on the sound. I learned how to work on lights, media. Media really sucked. I didn't like it. But then after the second retreat, like that whole thing with the worship, like it never really came to fruition, like from the first to second retreat. And after the second retreat, I remember at the end, one of the things we did was that like that gift thingy. Like where
Yes,
you
it's like
answer
a
bunch of
test.
questions.
It's a test that I forgot what it's called. It's a test that pretty much you answer a bunch of questions. It was like 100 questions, something like that. It was like an actual test.
It was crazy.
And at the end of the test, you'll know what your calling is, pretty much.
Oh, you
You'll know
told
what
me
you're
about
calling
this.
it.
Yeah.
It was like one of those. And then one of the things I got, like, as my results was to be a worshiper. And then,
Or part of the worship team,
yeah,
right?
part
Yeah.
of the worship team. And I remember my brother-in-law, he wasn't my brother-in-law at the time, but my brother-in-law now, he said, wow, because it lifts, like at least 5 gifts. And then
Mhm.
he said every single one of those you're either a part of or you're interested already, like in.
Oh wow.
And
So it
then
was pretty accurate. It was very accurate
it was
for you.
pretty accurate. And then eventually, like the worship aspect did come along, and this is where I give a shout out to Anonymous. He's behind the camera. Keep his name out. he he really gave me like that first step into the worship team, because it was a weird like Sunday, because he wanted you to sing. You're the
Yeah.
drummer. That's how it was. You were the drummer, and he wanted you to sing, and you guys needed a drummer. And at the time, like I knew how to play drums like a little bit, because I took some drum lessons to like help out my brother.
Yeah.
I don't even think Lucas knows that, but yeah, Dad forced me into drums to help you out. a
Oh
little.
wow.
So
Yo, secrets are being revealed right.
secrets are being revealed. Yeah, for
No, literally.
no, yeah, but then like I knew how to play a little bit, so like Anonymous, he put me on for that one Sunday, and then from then on it was like a domino effect, like just from his one action, which I thank him so much for, so much for that opportunity, because without that opportunity I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. And on the worship team, like now I could do like a lot. I'm not great at it, but I could do it like if needed. You get me? So
Mhm.
if there's someone missing for the guitar, I could play guitar.
And not only that, I've seen you worship, bro. Like,
Oh, yeah.
no matter what like situation you're in, dude, and you know maybe something happens, like or something goes wrong, dude. It's like you do not let that like destroy you. And not only that, dude, you have the heart of a worshiper, dude.
Mhm.
It's like I've seen it, like, even with like the equipment you use, you like guys. He doesn't come from like a very like I play with like Fender guitars and like the best drums ever.
we play with a
We're
random
balling on a
guitar that we
budget.
found in the basement, and
No,
we fixed it
literally.
somehow.
But you use that.
Gotta like
you,
duct tape it up.
no, literally, and
Literally.
you use that equipment, and you still don't let that, because you don't know how many like musicians in the worship like ministry industry that I know, that dude, it's like the second they see like for all my drummer heads out there, the second they see like a Sabian symbol, they're like, what?
Ew,
Ew.
I'm not gonna play with that.
No, literally, and it's
Or-
like, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I can kind of be that way too, but it's like I don't let that define everything, because at the end of the day, we're not there to worship for the people. We're not there to worship ourselves. We're not there to worship the drum set. We're there to worship the Lord.
Mhm.
And I've always seen that through you, dude. Like the way you worship, it's like something I've genuinely never seen.
Mhm.
And I think that your worship is truly gonna inspire and impact a lot of people. Honestly, dude.
I
Thank
think
you,
so
bro.
too, yeah.
Man. But yeah, I feel like that comes from like just that like heart and that passion for God. Like you're gonna make do with whatever you have to be able to get through the set. Like
Yeah.
no matter what. Especially because we used to
Mm.
we both grew up in the same like
Church.
environment, in the same
Yeah.
church. Like things go wrong like a lot. Like
Yeah.
things would break all the time,
Ah.
and you just gotta make do with what you got. Like
Oh yeah, I know the struggle. Literally,
The
oh my
Not
struggle.
only
gosh.
that, dude. It's like, dude, when something goes wrong, it's because something is actually going right. That's how I see it. If there's
Exactly.
something going wrong, it's because there's something going right. The enemy's trying to I guess tug on whatever you guys are trying to push out there. Oops, sorry. So for, like with even with all of our episodes, like
We
How ma-
definitely. Oh,
how many
something
times we
always
struggle
happens.
with
How
the-
many times we don't have subtitles?
we don't have
Magically, it
subtitles
just
for the
doesn't
Galera
appear.
Duhaki out there. Like
Yeah.
that's literally how it is. But
It's a struggle.
it's a struggle. But you
How
gotta
many
keep
ti-
fighting.
Dude, I can't even count how many times we have to re-edit episodes like 5 times for it to finally work.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally this episode, like
It
the-
took a while.
The intro, that was take 2. I don't know if you guys know, but
But
like,
little behind the scenes.
we went on a little tangent for like 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
then
A little pre-podcast.
yeah, a little pre-podcast. We were flowing, we were feeling it, and then out of nowhere, we were just like, we weren't recording. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. We
it's
keep
you know when
going.
they're like, "Oh my gosh, imagine I didn't press record." That happened today.
No.
Yeah,
literally.
literally. But you didn't miss much.
we didn't miss my-
Nah,
no,
yeah,
but
man.
seriously, and I feel like also another prime example. I guess because Easter just happened. We're in April. What day is today? Yeah, we're in April still.
We're in April.
Easter was a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
To me, the biggest time that the devil attacks is Easter.
Oh yeah.
Biggest time, because pretty much every church is doing something very specific, whether it's a play. I know most Brazilian churches, we always do our
American
teatros.
churches aren't really into plays that I've noticed.
Yeah,
They're
that's
more into
Yeah,
like worship.
Blaze is a Brazilian thing.
that's like a Brazilian
Brazilian.
church thing.
Yeah.
We do always had the theatricals to play, the musicals, or again, the Easter service, which is so crucial and so important. You're
Oh my
talking about
goodness.
when the devil literally got defeated, thinking he was defeating God. It
Exactly.
was like, oh yeah, Uno reverse, man. But sorry, that was really
Not
crazy.
only that, but Christmas too.
Yo, that's so true.
Christmas, I feel like, is another one that the devil really tries to attack a lot because
Mhm.
on Christmas, it's the day we celebrate the birth of our Savior,
The
and
birth of the one who defeated him.
literally, so it's like that reminder to the enemies, like, wow, today's the day
I got defeated
that
by a baby.
that the world is literally like celebrating a baby who would soon become someone who defeated me.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like
time and time again.
exact time and continues to
And I
as
feel like
well.
every time, since we're on that topic already, every time we have a Christmas play, a Christmas service, Easter play, Easter service, whatever it is, the devil goes on 10 times stronger.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh my goodness. I actually have a crazy story about like
Ooh.
the last
Do
little
tell.
play that we did for Easter.
Okay.
So we were spending like a really long time like planning it, our ragtag team trying to get it all together. And literally I feel like every church has like that story of like, oh my gosh, the day before like nothing was going right
Mhm.
Oh, literally.
Dude, I lost my voice the week of my play. I had two songs to sing and I lost my voice.
yeah,
Nice.
you were lip syncing.
Hey, don't spoil my secrets, man.
I'm sorry. I'm
If
sorry.
you guys
my
were
bad.
watching that play, I was lip singing. Whoops.
She was lip syncing.
No,
Whoopsies.
but the day before, because there was two people like leading that, like organizing the whole thing.
Mhm.
And the day before, one of them she's a dancer.
She told me the story. She told me the story. She sprained her ankle, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
the day before she's a dancer. She had to dance and she had to like organize everything. And she went to like because we had like curtains and I'm pretty sure she. Oh no, she didn't go to open the curtain. I'm bugging out.
It was the cross on the floor, right?
But there was a cross on the floor because we had two crosses because one was
Uh-huh.
too heavy, and there was a cross on the floor, and she went and she tripped on the cross and sprained her ankle
The
Oh,
day
wow.
before.
The day before?
the day before, and then not even like 5 minutes later, the other person that was like organizing the thing, like the other like leader of the play,
Her like
she
co-pilot.
fell.
And like broke her
my.
wrist or hurt her wrist, right?
She hurt her wrist too.
Yeah.
So literally, the two people like leading it the day before, they both fell. We're all sitting there like, nah,
On this
what?
in the
That's
same
how you
place.
know.
Wow.
That's how you know something's going. Like
Uh-huh.
Something
going
was
And then
definitely
it's
up.
always
Yeah.
something with like the sound equipment or like the
Oh
scenery
yeah,
is wrong or
the
something.
day of the play, our mics were not working.
See?
Oh wow.
They were bugging out. Like
Mhm.
the mics were not working.
But that's when that I feel like that's when also God is like testing us. Like, are we gonna give up and be like, guys, the microphones aren't working. It's not gonna be able to roll out, or we keep on fighting, we keep on praying,
And keep on
and
fasting.
keep on fasting, and keep praying that that in the name of Jesus these microphones will work. Because
Mhm.
how many situations something like that happens where before a huge event, before a conference, something always happens. Something
yeah.
always
Always
And that's
happens.
how you know that it's truly from God because the enemy wouldn't be attacking so heavily or so much if it wasn't something worth attacking.
Exactly.
Or at least kind of like, oh, well, I know this is going to impact people and bring them to Jesus. So I got to do something to make sure that doesn't happen.
Because it's like this, it's like it says in the Bible. The devil's goal is to steal, kill, and destroy.
That's John 10:10.
And that's
The
literally.
enemy comes to destroy, kill, and I know this in Portuguese. I'm sorry, guys. I can't
You can
translate
say
in
it
my
in
head.
Portuguese then.
To rob? Thank you, Gabe. He gave me the answer. Thank you, Gabe.
I said you could have literally said it in Portuguese.
Oh my god, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and that's the same thing. And destroy. To kill, steal, and destroy.
Steal, kill, and destroy. I said
I'm so
that.
sorry. I think the coffee is giving me a little bit of like.
I literally. But yeah, man, it's actually like I'm glad that you said that, and again, it's one of the things I love about you too, because you're one of those people that you never give up when something like that happens. Guys, I've grown up with him. We've been like you said, we've been in the same environment, and man, how many stories we have where something happened last minute, and we didn't know what to do, but we just kept fighting, and we just kept not giving up. And man, it was a blessing after, we
yeah.
and you've always had that heart and that passion, and I feel like that's one of the gifts God gave you, bro. And I think I've said this to you before, but that's one of the gifts that God definitely gave you, and I think even your brother. I've even said this about your brother too. Is that y'all got hearts, man? Like y'all have a heart that I've never seen. Like when you guys put your work into something, it's something I've never seen before. I'm being serious. Um it's like God gave you that gift, dude. And you should definitely honor it, bro. And you have been, and that's what I'm really proud
I
about.
mean, I feel like that just has to do with with how we came up, like from our
Mhm.
family, because our dad, my goodness, his testimony's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His story is wild. Even before he got here, his story is crazy. And I feel like the heart that me and my brother have has like it comes from my dad too, because he has such a passion and such a fight and such a conviction with God that I've never seen it before. If you're saying that about me, imagine my dad. Oh my
No,
goodness.
yeah.
It's crazy cuz I've
So
literally
you guys are like I guess the fruits of your dad. Like you guys have this because of
Because
your dad. So if it, with you guys, if it's already like that, imagine your dad. Your dad's probably 10 times more.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like we get our heart and our passion and our fire from our dad, but credits to my mom too. Chiamama.
Aw.
Credits to my mom.
Your mom is such a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I love his
I
mom.
love you, mom. I'm sorry for always stressing you out. But I feel like we get our patience and our in our love and how to like have love for somebody or love for God from my mom. So I feel like it's a good mix of
It's a
both of
good
our
mix. You
parents.
got the passion and you have the heart coming in from both sides, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like even though because we'll get into this a little bit like afterward, but like we as a family like we've definitely had like serious struggles with each other, and it's very long story to like get into to
Mm.
talk about the whole thing, and I'll get into it, but like I won't talk about the whole thing just to keep some things private because obviously it's family matter. But me and my brother, we definitely grew up needing a lot of patience and needing all those things that you say that we have,
Mhm.
because honestly I really don't know how we would have gotten through all
Oh,
those
I
things.
know, man. And again, that's another thing I've said too. You and your brother have like the most insane patience. It's like it literally is like I've never seen someone with that much patience than you two. Like it's insane.
Yeah, patience is
That's a
patience
And that's
carries
and
you
dude,
through a
that's
lot.
like and that's a key for your relationship with
that's a
God.
fruit of the spirit that a lot of people tend to ignore or have a hard time
And patience,
getting.
that's not, no, yeah, patience is such a hard thing. I feel like a lot of people struggle with patience, including me.
Oh yeah, me too.
I could definitely say that I'm a very impatient person
Especially
sometimes.
when you're hungry.
Oh yeah,
Oh my goodness.
I
I
mean
feel no, I
no,
feel like you have so many stories of Nick.
Oh my
but
gosh.
not even
New York
that.
McDonald's. I'll never forget that
No.
That is
story
not a
either.
fun. Sorry,
No,
Nick.
but not even that. It's like even like you don't know how many times like there have been times I've cried out to God. I'm like, God, like I'm struggling with this. I need your help with this, or God, I need an answer for this. Give me the answer. Like I need the answer, and then I never got the answer, or if I did, I got it like
Later.
later, later,
And it's
later.
like, oh, but I wanted it before. And God was like, but before wasn't gonna benefit you.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So that's why God also doesn't reveal. A lot of people also they want their plans like revealed now. There's some people that literally pray, God, I want I want to know. I want to know my future all right now. It's like, dude, God's not going to reveal it to you now because I believe that God's a God that if he were to reveal that to you, it's like,
What's the point?
what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of the process? What's the point of the maturing? What's the point of all of that,
Hmm.
So,
So one thing I say a lot now is I say it as a joke, but like it could be like serious. Like
mhm,
this could be taken like very seriously. And
mhm.
Alicia watching, you're gonna get a real kick out of this.
I
Love you too.
love you, Alicia.
But they're gonna get a real kick out of this. Her and her family, because I say this a lot because I say it a lot due to her. But
Mhm.
I say, "Oh, paciencia y fe."
Mhm.
Like for the ones
Paciencia.
that don't speak Portuguese, it means patience and faith,
Oh,
because it sometimes it takes a lot of patience
no, yeah.
and
And
you
a
just
lot
have
of faith.
and a lot of faith to know that it'll always work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Well, guys, speaking of patience, we want you guys to wait just a little bit after this break because he's going to dive in more into his
Yep.
testimony You guys do not want to leave.
So yeah, we'll be going on a really short break. But guys, hang on. We will be right back and we'll be getting into a lot more. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. What's up, guys?
Hi, everybody. We have a very quick announcement, guys.
Yes.
If you have never heard of Innovate Design, go check them out
Yes.
for all of your custom needs. If you need mugs, t-shirts, hats, you
Anything,
name it. They can make it custom. We have a couple of examples here. They made our wonderful mugs and our wonderful cups. Look at these cups.
Look at
with
this. Look how
our
beautiful
names
this
on the
is.
back with 1 John 1:7 on the back. Guys, Innovate Design is wonderful for all of your custom needs. Make sure you guys go check them out.
Go check them out. Their
Yes.
socials. Go check them out.
Check them out in the link in our bio. Make sure you use them for all of your needs.
Yes.
You can check them out, see what they're all about. And anytime you need anything, make sure you send them a DM on Instagram and you can book and talk to the owner, Deronisi.
They don't need
You guys can come up with a design that is perfect for you.
For
It's
you.
so easy to work with them, right?
So easy to work
Oh,
with
yeah,
them.
like-
Love them.
Oh yeah, Deronisi, she's a very practical person to talk to, has
Yes.
great ideas. You guys do not want to miss out this chance. Make sure you go check them out.
Go check them
And
out,
we're
guys.
back from our break, everybody.
We are. I see that you've been very patient and that you're back.
I like
that.
that.
Hey, I like that.
Yes,
Oh,
I
man.
wanted to do that.
But gonna go straight into it, man. Your testimony, man, because obviously,
We talked about how you first encountered Christ. So how has Christ worked in you after you first met him?
exactly.
Oh, dang, it's a lot to work on. I guess it started with my family. Like I mentioned before, we definitely had our struggles. Since I was a baby, like I don't know what happened with my parents. Like I don't really want to get into it or make assumptions, but like from my perspective, I've never seen them like love each other. It was it happens. Love, like, it goes sometimes.
It has its phases where sometimes it's a little cold.
Yeah, it's a little cold, and I don't remember like a time where they had they loved each other and I saw it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was one aspect of it, but we still stuck together as a family, roughed it out. But I feel like where it all changed was when my dad he got sick. And as a child, as a guy, you always look up to your dad, like,
Of
oh,
course, yeah.
he's a superhero, like, oh, I want to be just like him when I grow up. And to this day, like, that still holds true, but for different reasons, obviously. But he came down with this lung problem, and the doctors, they didn't really know like what it was, and all they knew is that there was like no cure for it. Like we went to multiple doctors, and all of them are very like they can't figure out what it is. And then eventually we got to this one doctor. He figured out what it was, and my dad, he wouldn't really take me and my brother to
the appointments.
the appointments. And for this time, for some reason, he took me and my brother. Sometimes he'd take like one of us
To
Just so-
translate and everything.
translate and help.
Yeah, yeah.
But for this one, he took both of us, and I'll never forget this to this day. we were in his office, and the doctor, he came in, and he told my dad like bad news. He said, "Look, honestly, you just have to get comfortable because I don't see you getting past like a year with this issue."
Oh
And
my
when was
gosh.
this?
And this was back in 2015.
Oh my
So back in
This
2015,
was a year before I met you.
yeah,
god. I was just
Wow.
thinking
a
that.
year before we met each other. And my dad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love your
He's-
dad. Love your dad.
He's very energetic. He's very hard to stop him.
Yeah.
He gets his mind set on something, he's gonna do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's very,
He's a very outgoing person.
Very
Literally, I'll
outgoing,
never
yeah.
forget the first time I met him. I was like, "Oh hi, I'm Anninha, I'm Nick's girlfriend." He was like, "Nick has a girlfriend?
Yeah.
What? He was able to get a girlfriend?" Yeah.
It was news to everybody.
It was,
It
it
kind of
was.
was.
We're like, oh my gosh, no way.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
so, that appointment, I never forget it because, like, once we heard, like, I was gonna lose my dad, and I was young, I didn't really understand what was going on, because when you're younger, you feel like a year goes by in like 5 minutes, like it goes by.
Oh yeah,
like,
100%. As I could definitely say, I don't remember much from my childhood like that because
Yeah.
it just went by like
it
that.
goes by quickly, but it felt like everything froze at that point. Like I was like, whoa.
Because you just remembered all of that.
I remembered it. It hit me. And then what I remember, and I think this is where my conviction and where my brother's conviction for God came from. My dad, he said, "No, I'm not gonna die in a year. I'm gonna live way longer."
Wow.
And the doctor, he was confused. He was like, "No, it's impossible. It's like I'm looking at
All the analytics,
all the
everything.
and I'm looking at everything right now. It is impossible. The max is like a year and a half." And he said, and then my dad, he said, "No, no, I'm gonna live longer because I believe in a God of miracles, and
Amen.
he's gonna save me, and I'm gonna live way longer than what you're telling me. I'm sorry, I know you're a doctor, but I don't believe what you're telling me."
That's where that
Amen.
faith comes from that we were talking about
Oh
earlier.
yeah.
Yeah, that faith, that's where like the first example of faith really came through
Your
to me, at least. I
and your
was like,
brother as well, I'm assuming.
and my brother too, and I still remember that to this day. Like, wow, like I can't even imagine me saying that
Oh
to
yeah.
a professional, someone that's been working, because this doctor, he was nearing his retirement. He was a very old doctor.
And he was
already.
like a legit like doctor.
He said to my brother, after my dad said that, he said, "Look, I've been a doctor for a long time, very long time now. I've seen everybody, every sort of case, worst case, best case. But one thing that everyone has in common that survive the impossible is people with your dad's mindset,
Wow.
with that mindset." And he was the doctor. He was religious too. I'm not gonna get into what kind of religion.
Mhm.
Not gonna start a controversy, but but he said that he believes in God himself, and he made the promise like right then and there that as long as he's working, as long as my dad's alive, my dad can go have an appointment with him anytime for free without any cost
Wow.
whatsoever.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's
So
That's a
crazy.
miracle. That's a miracle already right
Yeah,
there.
that's literally like
and my dad to this day he still says he doesn't know why the doctor thought that. He probably
it's from
thought
God, man. It was from God.
he
Mhm.
probably thought like, "Oh, he's gonna die in a year. He's gonna be off my back. I'll
Mhm.
just lay him off.
I feel like
Jeez.
maybe this is just my
Assumption.
an assumption. I think maybe that was probably when God convicted the doctor, and maybe
Probably.
that's what I'm thinking.
To
Like,
this
you know
day, we
how
don't know why the doctor said
you know
that.
how like with Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, when they went into the fiery furnace, right?
Hmm.
The king was like starstruck, was like, "Oh my God, like you guys are
Alive.
alive."
Yeah, that's pretty much in
And
this
that's what
case.
and that's
That's
what
the doctor in this case.
yeah,
Pretty much.
that's what
That's the
yeah.
king.
And then the king, I can never say his name.
Nebuchadnezzar.
There we go,
Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar.
There you go.
He felt convicted in that moment. He was like, "From now on, we're gonna worship your God."
Exactly, and I think that's what happened to your dad's doctor.
I mean,
feel
it
like
could be.
it could have
It
been.
could be.
It could have been.
To this
Who
day,
knows?
we still don't know. My dad, he doesn't even know, because it's funny because my dad, he always says he's still alive, by the way. Just
The doctor said, "Oh,
Obviously,
your
eight,
dad."
8 years
yeah.
later.
8 years later,
Eight
he's
years
still
later,
he's still kicking after
still
saying
happy.
1 year. He's still happy. He's kicking 8 years later. It's crazy. It's really
Yeah.
crazy. But he says that he visits the doctor now, and every single time without fail, he visits the doctor. He's like, "I can't believe you're alive. You're still alive.
Wow.
Oh my goodness." But
Wow.
but that was just the start of like
The start of it.
other issues that came along, because with my dad's lung problem, it was very serious because it
Oh,
was
wait,
like,
so he had a lung problem?
yeah, it was his lungs. So COVID-19 was interesting because he would always be coughing, so everyone thought he had COVID, but nah.
He
It was
was-
it was a lung problem.
If it was COVID, he got it in 2015. So I don't know.
Oh, man.
But what happened with his lungs is like it's scarred. Like his lungs, he's never smoked before, but his lungs, they're scarred.
Wow.
So um that it took a lot of analyzing and trying to figure it out, and it eventually came to I know how to, I think it's bilomania. That's what it is in Portuguese. I don't know how to really I think it's like fibrosis in English.
Uh-huh.
It's something along those lines,
Okay.
and there's like no cure for it.
Wow.
But so the doctor, like, after a lot of like work, like trying to take samples from his lungs, that's a whole other story too. He fell into like a coma trying to take a sample from his lungs for a bit of
Oh.
time. Like, it was very serious times. Yeah, it was very hard, but eventually, like, he came to the conclusion that, look, we're gonna put you on like a donors list whenever you need like an emergency like lung transfer, like if like worst case scenario like dying and like we got to replace it, he's on like that list. But until then, like we're just going to give you like medicine to help you with the cough.
Mhm.
And then that goes into my other sort of testimonies, because the medicine that he was getting prescribed had steroids in it, and side effect of steroids is like, short temper. So he was very like impatient at times, and my parents, they were already like, you know butting heads all the time. They would always argue, even before, even when I was a child, they would always argue. But the medicine, it would escalate it. And then Christmas of 2017, that's where it peaked, kind of. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna get into details for like legal reasons. I won't
Family
get into
reasons as well.
And family
family
reasons. Family
reasons,
matters as
legal
well.
reasons. I won't get into exactly what happened on that day. I was with you actually, and I
Yeah.
came back home, and then everything happened.
Mhm.
And but that was really a turning point for the family, because that's where it all like fell to pieces. Like, long story short, keeping it very vague, cops got involved, and I was home alone with my parents, and then my brother, he was out with his friends. I tried to call my brother. He heard a lot of yelling and screaming. Something happened. You know, very long story. A lot of shouting. I won't get into it, but cops got involved. Told him to look. Don't stay here. Go somewhere else for the night. You guys figure it out tomorrow. If you come back, we're gonna arrest you. He came back. You know
Mhm.
Mhm.
that whole thing happened, and then that still, like, I think about that to this day, because that messed with me mentally, like, very
Mhm.
badly, because at that time my dad, he was the breadwinner. He was like the one bringing in the money for the family, like supporting us. He had like the family on his back. And then, I was young, and my brother, he was young too. I can't even imagine for him, because he was the older
You
brother.
you guys were like 7 years apart. You told me.
Yeah, we're like 7 years apart. So if I was like 12 or like 13 ish at the time, I was 12. I was like 12 ish at the time.
He was like 19.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
18, 19.
that was like the first time I've ever seen like my brother like cry, because all his friends were there. His girlfriend was there, like trying to comfort him. Us as a family were just lost. We didn't know what to do. Like, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't think we're gonna have a place to live anymore. Like, I don't know how we're gonna get food. Like, I had all these things going on in my head, and I was like 12 at the time, and I'm already thinking about, I need to do my part in the family. Like, I need to start thinking about what I can do to, like, if I'm not gonna work. Like, I was thinking about, I need to work, but if I can't work because I'm so young, I gotta help out like in the house more. Like, I gotta be more supportive. Step up like as a man.
Mhm.
And then my brother, I can't imagine for him. Like, I can't tell his testimony for him, but I could just imagine like that pressure of having to be the man of the house, especially at such a like young age,
Young age, yeah.
to have to step up like that, especially after that situation. It was crazy. But a little bit after that day, I think, I don't really remember. That time was very fuzzy for me. Like, time is strange when I
Yeah.
think back on
I
that
think also because
time.
it was so traumatic, you kind of blocked it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just some parts,
I
cause
I spent a lot of time watching Fuller House at that time,
oh,
trying to forget everything. I was like, that family looks intact.
Oh,
oh my
Nah, I'm
god.
I'm messing around. I'm
wow.
messing around. I'm messing around. But back to being serious. We were, me and my brother, we went to go visit my dad, like for the first time after all that transpired. He was staying at his uncle's house, and I remember that my brother, uh, we went there, and I stayed quiet. I didn't speak like at all. Like, I just stayed quiet, and I let my brother like speak, kind of for the both of us. But and my dad, he explained like, oh, he doesn't remember what happened. Like, it was because of the medicine he was taking. He took too much, and like he's off of the medicine now. Like, he doesn't, and he's like sorry, and he was asking for our forgiveness. And I remember at the time my brother forgave him, but I didn't say anything. But like, I guess my dad assumed that he spoke for the both of us. But I remember specifically in my head, I was like, I did not forgive him. Like, that did not matter to me, because from what I saw was scarred. Like, it's like a picture in my head that kept popping up, like, of what I saw happen right in front of me. And you guys can make assumptions of whatever it was, but like, it was crazy. Like, that picture didn't leave my head, and I couldn't forgive him at the time. And obviously, after more time of me like spending time with my dad and seeing that he was better, like both of my parents now, they're in great places now. They're both very happy, they're less stressed, all that's already behind us. We're way closer as a family now.
That's good. That's
And
good.
this is even after your parents did separate, you know?
This is even after my parents separated because they have that mutual understanding that's like, look, I know it didn't work out with us, like between us,
But let's fight
but
for our
let's
kids.
fight for our kids and let's keep it together and work with each other at least for our kids.
Hmm.
So that's where that like mutual like respect for each other comes from.
And that you said multiple times before that that kind of made you guys stronger and
Yeah,
fix your family really.
it definitely made us stronger because I felt like together we'd butt heads a lot. Like there would
Hmm.
be a lot of like arguing, and me and Lucas at the time we didn't speak at all to each other either because the age gap was so big.
So
Like
big, yeah.
we literally wouldn't like speak to each other. We can go like days, like weeks without talking to each other. Like, oh yo, is
Mhm.
there food in the kitchen? Oh yeah,
uh,
cool, peace. And then we won't speak for like days to each
Uh-huh.
other. But eventually, the more I hung out with my dad, I saw that everything was becoming like better with him, and then eventually, obviously, I forgave him, and he's amazing now. I love you, Dad.
mhm.
And you know, after more years of you know, finally getting comfortable with our situation, and we're finally okay with everything. Everyone's happy. Um, in my life, I've realized that I've gone through a lot of changes, like from when I was a child to now. A lot of changes, and change happens very quickly. And oftentimes, I would be very scared of change because I like, everyone likes that stable, like, oh,
That
I,
stable
I
life.
want that stable life, like it doesn't have to be grand, it just needs to be stable.
Mhm.
But sometimes change is unstable. So I really felt that when my brother he got married and he moved away.
Mhm.
And then this goes back to what I said before about stepping up because for the longest time he was the man of the house and he would, you know, work and I would look up to him like very very much. I still look up to him to this day.
Mhm.
As the younger brother, I look up to my older brother, and when he moved away that impacted me very hard, and this was in 2020. Everyone knows what happened in 2020, obviously,
COVID.
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
He moved like right
He
before
he
COVID.
literally moved like a month before school's locked down. I
Oh
remember. It
wow.
was
Wow.
literally like right
Perfect
before.
timing
He
for
just
him.
narrowly escaped New Jersey.
Wow.
Jersey squad.
This is what
Jersey
Jersey
Squad.
Squad.
but but that impacted me like mentally. I feel like 2020 mentally for me, it was there was a lot going on for me. There was a
Mhm.
lot of change happening with my brother and like other things happening, and it was a lot of change and that put me in like a depression. Like I was having thoughts that I shouldn't have been having. Like I was very close to doing things I shouldn't have done because I would have like not been here today like whatsoever. Like I was having those thoughts, and God, he really saved me from those
This
thoughts.
was during the pandemic,
And this
right?
was during the
The
pandemic cuz
pandemic was a very dark
I
time.
was it's
Mhm.
cuz I was alone in my room, just me and my thoughts
Not only
with
that, bro, you were trapped and like the pandemic. It was a time where everyone was just trapped
it was literally I was trapped in my house and I was trapped in my mind.
in your mind,
Mhm.
exactly.
So it was literally no escape. Like I would stay up all night just looking at my ceiling, just thinking like, oh my gosh, like having those thoughts like, oh, nobody like cares for me. Why am I even here? Like
Mhm.
this and that.
And I guess it was kind of even worse because your brother had just moved out away.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
it
was
was
like you were
like
completely
this
alone.
was the
Yeah, I
first
was
time you ever lived
completely
without your
alone,
brother,
and
and it was during the pandemic.
it was during the pandemic, and it just so happens to be around the time that me and my brother started getting along too, like a little
Wow.
better,
Oh wow.
because
Because you got older,
because
right?
I got older, so like the conversations were a little more similar, so we were starting to finally like
Reach a
start
point. Yeah.
reach a point where we're able to like talk to each other. It wasn't like me and you where it's like, oh yo, we're cracking jokes all the
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah.
like it was to a point where like we'd have conversations and like he would understand me and I'd understand him,
Mhm.
type of thing. And then he moved away and I was like, dang, that hurt me like really bad. And eventually, with time and other things that came along, I finally like got out of that like depression, and those thoughts like finally went away. And now I'm so grateful that like I didn't do what I thought about doing at that time, because I would have missed out on a lot of things now that I'm
Wow.
so grateful for. Like very, very grateful for. So it's very hard times. Hard times make strong people, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
and God, I see him in every issue that I have. Like any issue that I have, I see as a testimony now.
Testimony in the
Like
making.
it's a
Yep.
testimony in the making. Even when my parents were having that time, like
Mhm.
that rough time, I was like, this is a testimony in the making. Anytime, like in my like any doctor appointment where it looked very like bad for my dad, like he wasn't gonna make it, I was like, this is a testimony in the making. Like God is preparing me for something greater,
Mhm.
and
Amen. Yeah.
now I'm starting to see that like come more to fruition.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that brings me to today. Everyone's happy. I'm cool now. I'm chilling.
I'm
I'm,
chilling.
Mhm.
I'm all happy. I'm chilling now. You know, I'm with my boys.
No.
Got the boys. I have Alicia. I love you very, very
Aw.
much.
Would you say she helped you a lot too?
Oh wait,
Yeah.
Alicia's Danny's girlfriend, guys. If
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
couldn't,
yeah, yeah,
if you couldn't
yeah.
catch the memo.
Yeah, if you couldn't catch it, they're just like, "Why is he saying I love you to me?" Like, but yeah, she to answer your question, yeah, she did help a lot actually,
Mhm.
especially in the past like year, because in the past year it's been a lot of change very quickly for me,
Mhm.
especially
How do you think that from like a Christian perspective, how was God working through those changes?
how he was.
Or I guess like
So
how did you see God working through those changes? That might have been hard for you.
so I look at it like this. Imagine you buy a plot of land, right?
Mhm.
You buy a plot of land to build a house. If you want to build a house, you need to change things on that land. You're not gonna have, you're not gonna be in your living room and there's like a tree in your living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, like
Yeah.
you gotta be able to change that first
Mhm.
of all.
Mhm.
But then there's also that other part where you have to work for that change too,
Mhm.
because you can't just ask God for something and then, oh, I'm gonna just sit here on my plot of land, tree in the living room. I'm gonna just sit here and pray to God, yo, God, take this tree out, and not do anything about it.
Mhm.
Like at the very least, hire someone to do it for you. You get me? Like you have to actively do something to enact on that change that you want. And obviously, God, He's gonna make changes in your life that you're not expecting. He's gonna throw curveballs at you, but those are just tests
Mhm.
to to make you like bulletproof, I guess, to like
Yeah.
help you out and make you stronger for something greater.
Mhm.
So when an issue occurs now, I look at it totally different than when an issue occurred before. And I'm not saying I'm perfect now. I still have a lot of issues. That's why I thank Alicia a lot, because
Aw.
she helped me through like
Mhm.
very tough spots in my mentality, especially in the last year. God really gave me her. Like,
Aw.
which
That's
is, oh my gosh, no.
Oh, you're gonna
that's
get.
sweet.
I'm gonna start crying.
No, I don't. Ah, dang it. But nah, for real though, like God really gave me her to help me out, because in the last year, like it was a lot of change very quickly, because I went from like point A to like point Z very fast, like
Mhm.
very, very quickly, all in like the span of like a couple of months.
Yeah.
And to give it some context, is my church, we didn't have like a youth for a little bit.
Mhm.
And then in the last year, we actually had an event celebrating our year this past weekend, which is a crazy milestone considering the the show out for the event and
Yeah.
where we started. A lot's changed. Like we started in people's living rooms, like just doing acoustic, and then a year later we're throwing this event. We're at the church and we have like 20 songs to play, multiple sets, and we had another church come and stuff. Like we moved very quickly and grew a lot
It
in the
was God
past year.
blessing you guys.
Mhm.
And then with that change also made me have to step up,
Mhm.
have to take a more like leadership type of role,
Mhm.
and that would stress me out a lot. But then I would think back to everything that God's prepared me for, to this, and I see it now obviously, because everything that I've been through, it was all just about change. And then this last year was literally just change, like one after the other and the
Yeah.
other and
Mhm.
the other. And then I was already prepared for that. So I guess to answer like your question about change, that's what I see it as pretty much.
God was preparing through everything that happened. God was preparing you for something in the future. You
Mhm.
know, it's like I heard this one time. Well, a pastor actually told me this one time that everything you're going through right now, it's like a boot camp for something that's going to happen later on in the future.
Amen.
If you're going through a
Yeah.
situation right now, it's because in the future, something's going to happen that you need to be prepared for. And if you did not start training beforehand, like for example, when you're in the army, you go through boot camp, right? Because if you don't go through boot camp, what's going to happen? You're going to go out to fight and you're
You're
not
not
going to
gonna
know
be
what to do.
prepared.
You're not going to be prepared. You're going to die. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like that example because I thought about it. I was like, if everything that I'm going through right now, I keep thinking about it negatively, how am I going to be able to, number one, overcome it, and number two, go through other situations? Because one thing that Jesus did not promise us was an easy life.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did not promise us an easy life. He said it multiple times, if the world hates you, no, it hated me first. So they're going to persecute you just like they persecuted me. And Jesus continues to be persecuted to this day. And as Christians, we also are persecuted
Yeah.
for believing in Jesus Christ, the one and only living God. And so everything we go through is a battle, is a boot camp. Because if you don't go through it now, if you don't go through these situations now, if you don't get experience now, how are you going to combat something even harder in the future?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And I see that in your life as well. Everything you went through is preparing
It was
you.
a boot camp.
It was a
Yeah.
boot camp, and it continues to prepare you, and everything you go through continues to prepare you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know even now God's preparing me for other things that are gonna happen in the future too. Like it's not like it stops here. Like there's gonna be no more change. Like it's gonna be like just straightforward.
Smooth
from here.
sailing.
Smooth sailing.
Yeah.
We all wish it was smooth
I wish
sailing,
it was smooth
but
sailing. Uh-huh.
but eventually there's a
Yeah, no, literally.
crashes
No, yeah.
down. But you need the lows to appreciate the
You
highs.
do. That's exactly it.
You
Mhm.
need the lows to be able to appreciate the highs.
So I guess that goes into our last topic before we wrap up. We like to ask everyone this. What is one piece of advice based on everything you've gone through that you would give to the youth?
I would probably. It's a good question. I would probably say don't fear change.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that change is important for anybody because if we were the same person we were before, like you didn't grow like
Mhm.
whatsoever. Like if I didn't grow, I'd still be like in my living room right now playing with my WWE like action figures.
I remember
Like-
those.
I remember that.
I remember
like I'd still be there and I wouldn't be who I am today. So don't fear if things are like changing up very quickly for you. Just know that God has a plan for you and that those changes are necessary. And then if you do want change in your life and you're praying or you're asking or you just want something, you need to be able to act on it to be able to change it because it's not a free handout. You got to be able to work for it. So there's two different types of change. There's change that you want that you got to work for, and then there's changes that God's going to throw at you as tests.
Mm.
And the ones that are tests, that's to make you stronger and harder and prepare you for the future and what God has planned for you. And the ones that you want, it shows you how to work for what you want.
Yeah.
So that's
It's like that very famous saying that all the business people like to say, money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work to get the money.
Mhm.
So you could also apply that to your walk with Christ. And if you want change in your in your walk with Christ and your spiritual life, you got to work on it. And it's like you said, there's always going to be changes that God as tests that God's going to throw, and you have to be able to.
I just remembered we heard it. We all literally heard that preaching on Saturday.
Yeah.
Change requires change.
I would. That's crazy.
That's crazy. No, in order to change, you gotta change.
No, literally.
There's no other way to put it. You gotta
Yeah.
make change happen.
You have to make change. Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys learn anything from this episode, it's that change
Change
is a good thing. Change is
Change
very
requires
necessary.
change.
Change requires change, and y'all don't be afraid to change.
Yes.
Just if you're afraid of change,
Afraid.
just don't be.
You find a penny on the street, pick it up. Don't be afraid of it.
Change, literal change.
See, now you're 1 cent richer. Now you're 1 cent richer. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. But anyways, guys, that brings us to the end of our episode.
Yes.
Y'all, thank you so much for watching.
you,
Danny,
Danny.
thank you for being on the episode. We loved having you here.
Of
Danny
course.
DTD, Danny the
gotta
drummer.
I gotta show up, bro. Of course, I gotta be here. I've known you
Aw.
for so long, and I love you guys so
You
much.
have anything to
Oh,
say
we
to
love you
the,
too,
to the
Danny.
viewers, man?
Tune in next week for the next guest. I already know who it is. 'cause
Oh, because somebody,
somebody. I
not
wonder.
gonna name who.
I wonder
Definitely,
who that could be. Spoiled it.
definitely not me.
Definitely not Anninha.
I never spoil the
Come
episode.
on, you guys stop spoiling the
I
guests.
never spoil the guest. What are you talking about?
Just Just for future guests. You're gonna know the next guest if you come
It's
on.
an accident. It was an accident. It was your fault because you said it first. I'm just kidding. It wasn't
So
your fault.
guys, we are very happy that you made it to the end, and like Danny said, tune in for next week. We have a very fire episode coming your way, and we can't wait to see you guys next week at 4 p.m. Till then, God bless you guys.
See you guys next week, 4 p.m. Thursday. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye, guys.